Somalia and Ethiopia have a complicated and often tense history. The roots of their conflict stretch back centuries, involving territorial disputes, political power struggles, and cultural clashes. These two nations have been at odds over who controls key regions, and this has led to numerous confrontations and wars over the years. For many years, they've argued over land politics and who's in charge in the region. The disputes have often escalated into full-blown conflicts, affecting the lives of countless people on both sides of the border. The political landscape in the Horn of Africa has been shaped by these ongoing tensions, influencing regional stability and international relations. Ethiopia's involvement in Somalia's affairs isn't new. It's been happening for a long time. From military interventions to political meddling, Ethiopia has played a significant role in shaping Somalia's history. This involvement has often been driven by Ethiopia's desire to expand its influence and control over the region. Way back in the 1300s, Ethiopian emperors wanted to take over Somaliland. Their ambitions led to numerous military campaigns and conflicts as they sought to expand their empire. These early confrontations set the stage for centuries of animosity and distrust between the two nations. This caused many fights and problems, creating distrust that has lasted for centuries. The legacy of these ancient conflicts can still be felt today, as the historical grievances continue to influence modern-day relations between Somalia and Ethiopia. When European countries came to Africa in the late 1800s, things got even more complicated. The colonial powers drew arbitrary borders, often without regard for the existing ethnic and cultural divisions. This further exacerbated the tensions between Somalia and Ethiopia, as the new borders did not reflect the historical realities of the region. The lines they drew on maps to divide the land didn't consider the different groups of people and who historically owned the land. This led to long-term problems, as communities found themselves divided and under foreign rule. The colonial legacy left a lasting impact on the region, contributing to the ongoing disputes between Somalia and Ethiopia. This caused long-term problems, especially for the Ogaden and Horde regions. These areas became flashpoints for conflict, as both Somalia and Ethiopia laid claim to them. The struggle for control over these regions has been a major source of tension and violence. After World War II, Britain gave these Somalilands to Ethiopia. This decision was made without consulting the Somali people, leading to widespread resentment and anger. The transfer of these territories further complicated the already tense relationship between Somalia and Ethiopia. This made Somalis want their own country even more and caused more problems with Ethiopia. The desire for independence and self-determination grew stronger, fueling nationalist movements and uprisings. The struggle for sovereignty became intertwined with the conflict with Ethiopia, making the path to peace even more challenging. It's important to understand this history to see why many Somalis don't trust Ethiopia. The deep-seated mistrust and historical grievances continue to shape the relationship between the two nations. By examining the past, we can gain insights into the complexities of the present and the challenges that lie ahead for Somalia and Ethiopia. Lately, Ethiopia hasn't done much to make Somalia feel better. The relationship between the two neighboring countries has been strained for years, but recent actions have only exacerbated the tension. Ethiopia's moves are seen as a direct challenge to Somali sovereignty, and this has not gone unnoticed by the international community. The agreement between Ethiopia and Somaliland in January 2024 is a good example of this. This agreement has been a significant point of contention, as it was made without any consultation with the Somali government. The deal has been perceived as a blatant disregard for Somalia's territorial integrity and has sparked outrage among Somali officials and citizens alike. This agreement, which lets Ethiopia build a navy base in Somaliland, has made people in Mogadishu very angry. The naval base is seen as a strategic move by Ethiopia to increase its influence in the region, and many Somalis view it as an encroachment on their sovereignty. Protests have erupted in Mogadishu, with citizens demanding that the Somali government take a stronger stance against Ethiopia's actions. The Somali government sees this as Ethiopia ignoring its authority, because everyone agrees Somaliland is part of Somalia. The government has issued several statements condemning the agreement, and has called for international support to pressure Ethiopia into respecting Somalia's territorial boundaries. This situation has put the Somali government in a difficult position, as it tries to balance domestic pressures with the need for diplomatic solutions. Many people think Ethiopia is trying to go around the Somali government and weaken it. Analysts suggest that Ethiopia's actions are part of a broader strategy to destabilize Somalia and assert its dominance in the Horn of Africa. This has led to increased scrutiny of Ethiopia's foreign policy and its long-term goals in the region. This complicates efforts to achieve a unified and stable Somalia, as the central government struggles to maintain control over its territories. This agreement with Somaliland isn't just one thing, it's part of a bigger problem. The geopolitical dynamics in the Horn of Africa are complex, and Ethiopia's actions are just one piece of a larger puzzle. The region is fraught with historical grievances, ethnic tensions, and competing interests, all of which contribute to the current instability. We need to watch what Ethiopia is doing and see how it affects Somalia's safety and independence. The international community must remain vigilant and engaged, as the actions taken today will have long-lasting implications for the future of Somalia and the broader region. Ensuring peace and stability in the Horn of Africa requires a concerted effort from all stakeholders to address the root causes of conflict and promote dialogue and cooperation. Ethiopia has also supported different groups within Somalia, sometimes with soldiers, sometimes with weapons and money. This makes things even more complicated. Ethiopia says it's doing this to fight terrorism and keep things peaceful, but it often does the opposite, making the problems worse and dividing Somalia even more. A clear example is when Ethiopia invaded Somalia in 2006 to remove the Islamic Courts Union, or ICU, which controlled Mogadishu and much of southern Somalia. The ICU had some dangerous members, but they became popular because people were unhappy with the weak and corrupt government that Ethiopia supported. The invasion didn't bring peace. It made things worse and helped Al-Shabaab, a much more dangerous group, become powerful in the south. Ethiopia has about 10,000 soldiers in Somalia as part of the African Union mission in Somalia, or AMISOM. This has caused many problems. Ethiopia says its soldiers are there to help the Somali government and fight terrorism, but people say they have hurt others, making Somalis angry. People also say that Ethiopia's army isn't being honest about what it's doing. Some say Ethiopian soldiers do what they want and don't listen to the Somali government or other AMISOM soldiers. This lack of teamwork and the feeling that Ethiopian soldiers can do whatever they want has made people distrust the mission. It also makes people wonder what Ethiopia really wants in Somalia. Some think Ethiopia wants a weak Somali government that it can control. The Horn of Africa, a region already fraught with challenges, faces further instability due to Ethiopia's actions. Ethiopia, a key player in this region, has a significant influence that can either stabilize or destabilize the surrounding countries. What Ethiopia does in Somalia affects the whole region. Ethiopia's military actions in Somalia have far-reaching consequences, impacting not just Somalia, but also neighboring countries. These actions can lead to a ripple effect, causing regional conflicts to escalate and making it harder for peace to be achieved. The Horn of Africa is a dangerous area with poverty, fighting, and unstable governments. This region is plagued by numerous issues, including extreme poverty, ongoing conflicts, and governments that struggle to maintain stability. These problems create a volatile environment where any additional tension can lead to significant upheaval. Ethiopia is focused on what it wants, even if it hurts its neighbors. Ethiopia's political strategies often prioritize its own interests, sometimes at the expense of its neighbors. This self-centered approach can lead to conflicts and strained relationships with other countries in the region. This can make existing problems worse and prevent countries from working together. When Ethiopia pursues its own agenda without considering the broader regional impact, it exacerbates existing issues. This behavior hinders efforts for regional cooperation and makes it difficult for countries to come together to address common challenges. One big worry is that Ethiopia is trying to stop the growing partnership between Somalia, Egypt, and Eritrea. This partnership, which has the potential to bring about significant positive changes in the region, is seen as a threat by Ethiopia. The diplomatic tensions arising from this situation could lead to further instability. This partnership, started in 2023, is a big step towards more cooperation and peace in the Horn of Africa. The alliance between Somalia, Egypt, and Eritrea marks a significant move towards fostering regional cooperation and achieving lasting peace. This collaboration aims to address shared challenges and promote mutual growth. This partnership is about working together on the economy, politics, and security to help the region grow, stay safe, and stop outsiders from taking advantage of it. By focusing on economic development, political stability, and security cooperation, this alliance seeks to create a more resilient and self-sufficient region. It aims to prevent external powers from exploiting the region's vulnerabilities. But Ethiopia doesn't like this partnership, especially Egypt having more soldiers in Somalia. Ethiopia views the increased military presence of Egypt in Somalia as a direct threat to its own influence in the region. This opposition could lead to heightened tensions and potential conflicts, further destabilizing the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia wants to be in charge in the Horn of Africa because of old problems and its own goals. They want to control Somalia to be the most powerful country in the region. Right. And they do this sometimes with their army and sometimes by helping certain groups in Somalia. Ethiopia isn't just worried about safety, they want to control Somali politics. Ethiopia keeps getting involved in Somalia, and it often makes things worse, not better. They are trying to do too much. Yes, this hasn't just hurt Somalia, it's also hurt Ethiopia's own resources and reputation. It shows how wanting too much power can cause problems. Somalia is working hard to be independent and keep its people safe. The government is building strong organizations and working with other countries. Yes, this is very important for Somalia's future. By making its government stronger and getting help from other countries, Somalia can create lasting peace. It's about making sure no single country is too powerful. Exactly, this partnership is key to keeping the Horn of Africa safe. By working together, these countries can protect themselves and make the region more peaceful.